you doing? It is the radio guy, the Dr. Mike Prince. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Mike Prince Show here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Man, have we got a lot to cover on today. What a grand finale weekend. But before we get into that, let me remind you that our social media handles for Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook are the Mike Prince Show. The website is obnradio.com, and the YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network. And without any further delay, we'll jump right into today's episode. How about the Ghost and the Panthers with their grand finale finish against the Texas Southern Tigers? Final score was 60-14, and I'm upset. I really am upset. I'm disappointed because I knew we were going to score at least 70 points, but I do understand. Panthers could do absolutely no wrong. 579 total yards of offense compared to 185 for Texas Southern. And it makes one scratch his head. How bad is the Texas Southern program? And is it time for Coach Mike Haywood to be shown the door? I'm just saying, there was no energy for what would be a rival game, and it was just a lackluster performance by the Texas Southern Tigers. With the win, the Panthers end up 5-6 overall, 4-3 in conference play. In fact, with the Grambling State Tigers losing the Bayou Classic, the Panthers end up second in the West. A little bit deceptive, but I'll take it. Overall, the Panthers end up the number 4 seed in the conference because you have Alcorn, the top seed. You had Southern. Alcorn ends up 6-1 in conference play, 8-3 overall. Southern ends up 7-3 overall, and Grambling ends up 6-5. But because of the head-to-head competition, Prairie View ends up in second place of the West. That's why I say a little bit deceptive. If you didn't know any better, you'd have thought Prairie View had the number 3 slot. But it doesn't give a clemency on what could have been for the season. But it does help things to go down a bit easier, knowing that you were able to do what you did against Texas Southern to finish the season. And with that, the Ghost and company must go directly to the lab, start sorting some things out on how they're going to improve this program. And speaking of improving programs, there was a big celebration for recognition of football players from 1989 to 1998. We got a very touching commentary, I guess I would put it in the category of, that we'll hear directly from Coach Greg Johnson, who led the Panthers with that 14-12 win over Langston to break the 80-game losing streak. We'll hear from him. We'll talk a little bit more about the weekend that was. And we even got to talk about the Bayou Classic and what will be this coming weekend from Lorman, Mississippi on the reservation. Of course, you can listen to that game live right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We'll have our pregame show starting at 2:30, follow with the kickoff at 3 p.m. from the reservation between the Alcorn State Braves and the Southern Jaguars. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about the Panthers' big weekend and the direction that the Panthers should be looking towards. You listen to the Mike Prince Show. Keep it locked where you got it.
Reach more potential customers through our sports radio package by dialing 832-213-8824.
The birth of legends are storied in this conference. We must never forget our rich history. We now turn our gaze to the future. The new legends will emerge. New heroes to arise. The Southwestern Athletic Conference. Be our history.
The stage is set. The time is set. Now, the game shall begin. The Alcorn State Braves, representing the Eastern Division of the Southwestern Athletic Conference, will host the Southern Jaguars, winners of the Western Division Conference, for the 2018 SWAC Football Championship. Kickoff begins at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Listen to Lee Hall and the Greenwood Live broadcasting crew as they'll bring you hard-hitting action from the reservation in Lorman, Mississippi, Saturday, December 1st, 2018. Who will be the last man standing? Hear it all live on the Open Mic Broadcast Network, the voice of student athletics.
The message for Mr. Prince. This is Greg Johnson, former coach of the 1998, known as the Streak Breakers, Review A&M football. And I just want to personally say thank you for the opportunity to bring me, a bunch of guys, and community and the Panther Nation together once again, celebrate and be a part of a new tradition that is now going on. Review A&M. It was an outstanding performance by the football team. The administration did an outstanding job, and it cannot go without being said that Mr. Prince was a catalyst to this whole thing, and definitely one of the unsung heroes of the day. I didn't get a chance to even meet you. I got caught up in it. The players got caught up in it, and words just can't express. And I just had to say something and wanted you to know that how much we really appreciated it. At the end of the day, it was a great turnout, and I saw a lot of happy faces. You never know what kind of influence the stories that the kids tell. Well, young men now, grown men, tell about how you touched them, and stories were continuous, and they really touched me. They made me who I am today, the type of person I am today. I'm a very grateful and humble person because of the opportunity I had to coach them young men, and we all grown stronger from that, and been able to overcome adversity. And very unique group of young men who are all now very prosperous in life. I don't have enough time to tell you, to say all the different things that those young men are doing, but because of that obstacle they had to cross, a cross they had to bear 20 years ago, made them who they are today. I was so impressed to see where they are today because of that. It's a football builds character. It creates discipline. Talking about how I treated, how hard I was on them, and some of the things that I did 20 years ago that they some of them will be outlawed today. And again, like I said, Mr. Prince, you did a great job orchestrating it, put it all together, and I want to thank you for that. And young men want to thank you. And we're very appreciative of that. One thing that came up was that people had asked me, why would I take on a challenge of 0-76? And, you know, I never thought of it as a challenge of 0-76. I thought anybody could be able to do what we did. And I think it took about 14 or 15 games before we turned it around, made it happen. But that class, those guys are a class act. They're a class act. 20 years later, you can see how much work you put in and what came out of your work. What the young men are doing now, the grown men are doing right now, and they are all very, very successful. So again, I just want to say thank you. I enjoyed it. Appreciate everything the PV Nation did for me, having that opportunity to coach and come back and visit and be recognized. It'll forever be ingrained in my heart and mind. Thanks once again. Greg Johnson, former head coach, Prairie View A&M Panthers. 1997-98. Signing out.
And welcome back to the Mike Prince Show. Of course, that was Coach Greg Johnson, who led the charge for the 97-98 era of PV Nation football, breaking the 80-game losing streak. And we do thank him for dialing in on the message line at 713-570-6736 and shared his expressions of appreciation, and it is greatly appreciated here from the Open Mic Broadcast Network. I just want something to be known. We do not try to take full credit, nor can we take full credit for all the past weekends, but we like to be recognized and appreciate being recognized for getting the show off the ground, if you would. And Coach Johnson and crew, thank you guys so much. Continue to move forward. It was a huge, successful weekend. Beat the brakes off of Texas Southern. That is always good. 60-14. I'll say it probably one more time before I close out today. But I want us to not lose focus and not be, quote unquote, deceived. This team left a lot of money out on the table, if you allow me to use that terminology. And no disrespect to Texas Southern, Alabama State, but we're supposed to beat them. We beat them on a struggling day. The true measuring stick is how we fare against teams of equal value, or if not, a notch above us. Technically speaking, we knew that Grambling was the big feather in the cap, and yes, it was very meaningful to get that win at the State Fair Classic. However, Grambling was in a down year. How do we respond to a Grambling that's fully loaded? How do we respond to a Southern that will be fully loaded? How do we respond to an Alcorn that will be fully loaded? And let me give one more note of correction. I said Prairie View finished fourth. Over the break, I was able to recognize they actually finished fifth in the conference, as we cannot omit the fantastic year that Coach Maynard had with the Alabama A&M Bulldogs. They actually finished 6-5 overall, 5-2 in conference play, even though there were marks against them for this 2018 campaign. But I do want to set the record straight. Back to the point at hand. We have great expectations at Prairie View A&M University, and we should have great expectations because of the bar that has been set. A lot of people are under the shadow, not realizing that Prairie View has won 76, now 77 games in a 10-year span. But because of the elusive championship and the non-factor show-ups in big games, it continues to stay under the radar. And I believe that we should demand and command, as we have, that we rise above that radar and be out there like a beacon in the dark night, leading the way. So we'll see how things continue to pan out and how they develop. 126 points scored in the past two games for the Panthers offensively. Okay, this is going to be my last time that I say this, and this is especially for Chatterbox. Prairie View 60, Texas Southern 14. A lot of key elements will need to be replaced, i.e. Dewanye Tucker. So the Dooley-led Panthers will go back to the drawing board and figure the rest of this way out. Meanwhile, we have a championship game to be played this week. And of course, you can listen to that game live right here on the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Simply go to obnradio.com. We'll have you locked, loaded, and ready to go with the live coverage. It'll be a pregame show starting at 2:30 Central Standard Time, and the kickoff will follow at 3 p.m. Lee Hall and crew will be leading the way through the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and we'll have the Carlos Brown Show live from the reservation. So it'll be a packed Saturday. You don't want to miss it right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Now, how about how we got here? What a game by the Southern Jags. And what a performance under pressure by Coach Dawson Odoms, getting past the Grambling State Tigers. And we must tip our hat to Coach Broderick Fobbs on the year that he had in spite of. We just said it was a down year for Grambling, but they were in the race until the very last game of the season. And with that being said, you've got to recognize that this brother knows what he's doing. And for whatever it's worth, at least for this 2018 campaign, Grambling is looking at the backside of the purple and gold this year for football. So once again, it was one of those deals that with everything that was going on, you really miss the significance of the aftershocks of this Bayou Classic. As a result, Grambling does finish ahead of Prairie View overall with a 6-5 record. And they're tied at 4-3 in conference play, but because of the head-to-head competition at the State Fair Classic, Panthers getting that win. Panthers technically finished second in the West. And that's something that you could hold your head up high on. But there's still work to be done. And speaking of work to be done, I think I've spilled out enough for today. And I'll begin to exit stage left. I want to remind you that all week long we'll be in preparation for the 2018 SWAC football championship game held in the reservation in Norman, Mississippi, on the campus of Alcorn State. The Braves hosting the Jaguars. We'll break this thing down throughout the course of the week and give you who we believe will be representing the Southwestern Athletic Conference in the Celebration Bowl in a couple of weeks to take on the MEAC representative, North Carolina A&T. Remind you that our message line is 713-570-6736. You can dial that number 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Leave your thoughts, questions, comments, just as Coach Johnson did, and we thank you so much for that, Coach. God bless each and every one of you guys, because Prairie View still producing productive people. The social media handles for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter is at The Mike Prince Show. The Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network. Subscribe to that channel today because we're going to be doing some special things that you'll only be able to hear on YouTube. It's Open Mic Broadcast Network, OPEN, capital MIC, Broadcast Network. And of course, the website is obnradio.com. Until the next time, you guys be blessed I am the radio guy, Dr. Mike Prince, and we'll see you on the other side.